the difference between drawing things organic and mechanical. So when I was first starting out and I really wanted to get into this artistic career, I had a really difficult time because I felt like I was pretty good at drawing things organic. I was getting better at drawing things like people and trees, animals, all the organic things. And I felt like I was struggling with all things mechanical, especially when creating things on my own, doing things like comic books or concept art. I felt like I just didn't have I just didn't have the juice for illustrating things mechanical. And what I would do during the time I was a student at Art Center is I was in the illustration department. I was also studying film. I minored in film. But anytime I had electives, what I would do is I would take industrial design classes. And I was then hanging out with students that were really good at drawing cars, designing vehicles, designing robots, all the things. And I felt like, man, they were so much better than me. They were. I mean, that's what they were studying. And what was interesting is I got to be really good friends with these ID students because they were blown away with how I could draw people and animals and plants. And so they were always asking me, man, you know, because they were really good at drawing cars and robots, how do you draw people? And I was like, how do you draw robots? And I really struggled because I felt like there was such a separation between the two. Well, I'm here today to share you what I feel is my secret to drawing things organic and the difference when drawing things mechanical. And are you ready for this secret? You're probably going to hate me for it because you're watching this video waiting for there to be some magic thing that you can use to incorporate into your art when the secret is there is no difference. That is what I struggled with for so long. And once I stopped trying to find what the magic ingredient was to illustrating something mechanical, all I had to do was keep on keeping on and don't separate it. So, for example, the technique that I used here to illustrate Yoda in this particular piece, it's very textured, right? And then for illustrating R2-D2, it's very textured. There is no difference. And that is the secret. Let me do a little bit of a deeper dive here before you go away upset. Like, man, I thought I was going to learn some really cool technique I can use. Well, maybe if you're having an issue like I was, maybe the issue is that you're trying too hard to separate those things like I was. So in the case of Jabba the Hutt here, you'll see that, again, as per usual, building with basic shapes, roughing things out, then getting more detailed and getting darker with your confident lines. When illustrating C-3PO, oh my god, same thing. Starting with basic shapes, roughing everything out, and then when you go in with the details and contour, getting a little bit darker, more confident, separating those shapes of color and form. So that was the secret. When I stopped trying to make everything such a big deal, it was working out a lot better. Because let's face it, sometimes you have, you know, something like R2-D2, a little more robust. R2-D2 is more straight lines, and if there are curves, they're either absolute circles or they are semicircles, like the domed head, right? That's just half a circle. And then you've got something a little bit more sleek and, you know, the N1 Naboo Starfighter. I'll tell you what, the Naboo Starfighter, I used to not be a fan of this ship. I just felt like it was a little too Flash Gordon, a little too perfect. And I know they're protecting, you know, the Queen and everything else. But I'll tell you what, now that Mando has one of these and it's like dirty and there's like pieces missing and it's like been modified and everything. Oh my gosh, do I love this vehicle now. I think it looks so cool. It just needed to be just a little bit rougher around the edges. And I think in general, that was the magic of Star Wars, is that it was a used universe. But I digress. That's my juice for today. If you're having issues like trying to find what the difference is between organic and mechanical, obviously the way you render something, the way you would render steel is different than the way you would render fur. But the initial drawing, the initial way that you are building these shapes is the same. And that was something I know I struggled with. So hopefully letting that cat out of the bag is something that'll help you too. All right, I'll be back next week with another video. Keep the dream alive, stay creative, and I will see you guys next week.